Hey everybody. Well, today what we're going to do is I'm going to go out with my pilot Nick, who's the Caravan pilot this year, and we're going to explore some landing options of what we can do if the plane loses power after takeoff or loses power at altitude, and what are your options, where to put it down safely in both cases. Now, obviously, you would think if you had lots of altitude, if the plane loses power, let's say at 13,000 feet right over the runway, well, you should obviously be able to make the runway. But that's a little tricky at my airport here in Baldwin, Wisconsin, because it's 2,500 feet long, which isn't insanely short, but I've got obstacles at both ends. You can see at the north end, I've got some train tracks, and at the south end here, I've got some trees and some power lines. And the problem I've always been concerned with is if you're trying to dead stick a plane in here and you come up short, your options are really limited. You're pretty much screwed if you're not going to make it over the obstacles, because once you realize you're not going to make it over the obstacles, you don't have anywhere to go. You can't go left or right because there's obstacles on both sides. You're kind of boxed in. So I've kind of been checking out a couple of the roads around here. There's a couple of a road I'm going to look at where you can put the plane down right after takeoff instead of putting it down in the cornfield, which has a ditch in it, which would be really bad to hit if you're still going pretty fast. You know, you don't want to run into a ditch, and that would be bad. If you can clear the ditch, there's a big cornfield on the other side, and I'd suggest taking that. But if you can't do that, you know, you can side slip over to this road, and I think that's a better option. Same thing on the other side. There's a couple of good roads, but we're gonna go check it out. We're gonna measure the Caravan, see how long the wingspan is, how high the tail is, and basically, really important, how high the wings are above the ground at the wingtip level, because some of the obstacles we have to deal with on the road are signs, stop signs, speed limit signs. There's a couple signs over a few bridges that we got to clear, and we'll see what we can fit. Hopefully, if you dead stick it in there, you can still use the airplane the next day if you get it fixed. Well, see what we find. So, how long is the wingspan?
Yep. So 52 feet wide.
52. Okay, and tail is how high?
15 and a half feet.
All right, so 52, it's essentially 26 feet from the nose wheel to the wingtip. And what we need to do, we got to figure out is, can we put the Caravan down on that road, and is it going to fit?
Clear the power line.
Is it going to clear the power line poles, the power poles? Will the tail go under power lines if you need to do that?
Right.
And you know, one of the big things that's a problem with landing on that road is there's signs, stop signs, speed limit signs, and there's a couple of small bridges there that have got some markers on the side. So here, I'm gonna see how high the wingtip is. Once you get down here in the bottom, we'll measure this. Okay, let it go up. Should do this on a non-windy day. Okay, so how high is, gosh darn it, come on now. There. So it's about
9 feet.
9 feet. Yep. All right. The other thing we need to know is how far from the center line does the strut start? Because there's some, even though the wing will probably go over most of the signs, but those couple of bridges, they're not that wide. Right. So actually that breaking the concrete is probably okay. So the strut starts at, call it 12 feet, and at 11 feet it's put that to the bottom.
So about 7 feet.
11 feet is 7 feet, okay. Well, let's go out to the prospective alternate runways and see how wide it is.
All right.
Yeah, because one of the things I always wondered about was, you know, you see all these great straight roads that we could land on if we had to.
Right.
But, you know, like, well, that one's got power lines down the side. Well, how wide is that? Can you fit there? Because there's a lot of great roads that don't have any obstacles in them. It's like a lot easier than trying to get into here. So
Oh yeah.
let's go check that out. So here's the first alternate landing spot. You know, this one's kind of handy for if you lost power right after takeoff.
Yeah.
You know, obviously you can go straight ahead into this field, but there's that ditch right there that you'd have to contend with.
And then also that irrigation
And
stuff.
if that irrigation line is there, that would kind of suck. But if you got up, you know, say 500 feet and the engine quit,
Yeah.
you could make this stretch of road pretty easy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, in the nearest power, there's no power lines from way down there, and you'd be over those power lines till, I don't see any all the way down here. But the first obstacle we have is this bridge with these signs. Now the wingspan's obviously going to be over the side, but I don't think it'll catch that. That's further than 25 feet.
From the middle, yeah.
Here, grab that and we'll just see for a second. Tell me when there's about 25 feet, 26 feet. I mean, what's that?
26 right there.
Okay, walk toward this. Yeah, that's plenty. So the wing's not going to hit that. Bring this in. So the thing we really got to say is, will it go over this sign, or are you going to catch the bottom of the wing? I mean, this is. Put that down.
7 feet.
7 feet, and let's see. Go to the center of the road. Where's 11 feet?
11 feet is right here.
Right there. Boy, she's gonna be close.
That is pretty close.
That strut is really, see how it's bent? Maybe it bent it already.
Somebody already landed here.
So that, you might, if you went across this bridge, you might ding the strut.
But I think it would just take that pole out, right?
Right, but I don't care about the pole.
Yeah.
I care about the plane. I'd love to have a spot where
I got you.
we can land the plane and still use it again the next day, not have major damage. Let's see, this is just bolted on. I suppose we could just get a chainsaw, cut a foot off and drop it down. You think anybody'd notice?
Probably not.
Those signs look a little short, don't they?
Right.
Maybe put extra air in the tires to lift the plane up a bit.
There you go.
But still a better option than putting it down in this field and hitting that. That's a pretty deep ditch.
Yeah.
You would, or go flying into those trees. If you put it down on this road and clipped the struts on these posts, like you say, they're pretty wimpy.
Right.
They just bust up, you know. It wouldn't rip the wings off.
I don't think so.
You'd just be clipping the top of the struts, so wouldn't be ideal. But if this is as far, I mean, if you lost power right there and you could make it to this road and stomp on the brakes.
Put it in full beta.
Well, that's
Oh no,
assuming
there's
the
no
engine's
engine.
not
Yeah.
working.
Never mind. We don't have any help from that.
Yeah, you're gonna be now. If you still have enough energy as you're coming in here to lift it up over this and set it down there, there's another bridge right there with the exact same signs, but you might be able to get stopped by then. But again, this is a probably won't die scenario.
Exactly. Yeah.
But let's go down the road a bit and see if we can find a spot that you might not break the plane. Because, you know, this is the scenario where you lose power right after takeoff.
Yeah.
Which would suck. You have limited options. You're either landing straight ahead or you maybe just kind of sliding over here. You're not going to be able to turn back to the airport, especially with a full load. Just not going to happen.
No.
So your goal at that point is don't kill yourself. Don't kill all the people. You know, saving the plane would be awesome, but mostly I wouldn't want to hit that ditch doing 80.
No.
That would be unfortunate.
No.
But there's also the situation where maybe you lose power at 1,000 feet, 2,000 feet. And instead of trying to put it into the runway, you know, you can pick a spot on this road. Let's go down there and take a look at that spot by the hill.
All right.
All right, so This section road is probably the best because from those stop signs that we were just at to here's, that's about half a mile. That's pretty far. And you've got this uphill section that would really slow you down. Mm-hmm. You know, and then you've got this post. So let's see how high this is. Tape measures.
All right. So that's at 9 feet.
9 feet. And what's from this post to the center of the road?
So 16.
16. So the wingtips are definitely gonna go over this and probably hit that because it was wingtips were 9 feet high at the very tips, and they kind of angle down. So
they do, yeah.
If you're coming up this hill and you don't get stopped in time, you're gonna clip these posts.
Yep. Which
won't kill you, but would really suck to have the plane come in and go. Yeah. Get stuck on this chain link fence. What a bummer, but
that'd be wild.
But I would think, you know, obviously you're going to be going floating a lot more when you have the, you know, the blades feathered. Mm-hmm. You're going to go a lot faster,
right, than
when we're at flat pitch. But I would think coming up this hill is really going to slow you down. So
I believe it.
And then there's your obvious other option, which is put it on 94. Mm-hmm. You know, as long as you're landing with the traffic, you should be able to sneak in there. Yeah. You know, although getting the plane out of there, plane stuck on 94, getting it back to the drop zone is going to be a hassle.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
And get my best tug and just go home at 1 mile an hour.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, well, I think that's it. There's your best option. If the wind's out of the south, you basically come up the hill. If the wind's really strong out of the north, come in right over the overpass, put it down. You've got plenty of time. You should get stopped before you hit those stop signs.
Yeah, that's plenty of room.
Yeah. This is your best option, I think, especially because you could lose power at 13,000 feet.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You've got all the time in the world, but still, trying to get into the drop zone, if you come up short, you're just screwed.
Exactly.
This would be your best option. Cool. All right. Now we know what to do if you lose your engine.
Right on.
All right. Well, I think we got some good options. You know, the road leading up to the highway overpass seems to be our best option if you can make that, and then closer into the runway, if you lose power right after takeoff, you can side slip over there. It's really good to show the pilot what his options are, so he's got that fresh in his head, because the last thing you want to do if you lose power at takeoff is start deciding, well, where am I going to put it? You should have a plan right off the bat, especially if it's an airport you're flying out of constantly. It shouldn't be this guessing game. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Because every second is pressure. You know, you're going to have the startle factor, so you're going to have 2 or 3 seconds of denial. This can't be happening. And then it's, you know, where am I going to go? And if you've got a plan right off the bat, lost power here, putting it down there, your odds of survival are a lot better. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And as always, especially if you're dead stick in an airplane, don't forget to keep your speed up.